How's it going, everybody? This is BeatTheBush. Today is story time. I'm going to go over some of my experience in the engineering field on how to get above average pay as an average worker. Juan Diego Moreno asked how to protect the value of one's labor. Should people expect things like raises to match inflation? Should it be standard to expect consistent compensation? This video is brought to you by Moomoo, the free trading app. You can get up to 15 free shares of stock just for signing up and depositing various amounts of money, and you can also help out this channel at the same time. Check out my referral link down in the video description below. In my past experience, I got a lot of raises at one particular job. And when I switched over to the second job, I actually didn't get a raise. It was the same salary, but I had an urgency to switch over because I knew that the first company was not doing so well, so I needed to do it quick. I remember doing a lot of negotiation because the manager wanted to give me a little bit less, and I'm like, no, the minimum I will take is matched. Now, the reason I know that I got paid more than other people is because after I worked there, I talked with some of my ex-coworkers and I found out their salary and they're like, what? You got paid that much? Switching jobs and all, I should have had like, I don't know, maybe 10-15% raise or so. Smaller companies generally pay less money. So if it's a startup, it's gonna be less money than, let's say, if you work for a Google or Amazon. More bureaucracy at a big company. At a small company, you tend to have to do everything. You gotta learn a new language, put on all kinds of different hats, and do a lot. Their budget is really constrained. You have to put yourself in their shoes in a way and think that they cannot possibly pay you, but instead of them paying you a really high salary, you can ask for other things, like maybe you get more vacation. Instead of, if you're starting out 2 weeks, right? Maybe you want 4 weeks, maybe you want 6 weeks. Their numbers for yearly salary, it's very fixed, but then the other stuff they give you, it's a little bit more negotiable. Maybe you can negotiate something like, oh, I want to work like 2 or 3 days from home. That is kind of value in your pocket because you no longer have to commute to work. Probably valued at like about $1,000 to $2,000 worth of gasoline and a whole bunch of commute time. So it's valuable to you, and essentially you're working the same hours for them. So you can do negotiation tricks like that in order to compensate yourself. Try to get your total compensation package or value to you a bit higher, even if you work for a startup. Managers have a budget for their entire team. They have a certain amount of money that they need to divvy up amongst, let's say, 5 to 10 employees. So if one employee is gonna get a lot of raise, another employee is not going to get as much raise. So they got to do this balancing act where they keep everyone happy and not one person will just be really, really angry and leave. My recommendation to wring the most out of your employer is to be the person that will not take crap from their employer, because if you are known where they do something, that doesn't make sense, you just won't take it. Versus you can be the type that would get pushed around, right? You say, oh, yeah, why don't you do this? Like the pushover type, right? So you gotta have like a strong sense of self and, know what you're worth. And if people cross the line, like giving you 0% raise when inflation is like 6 or 7%, then they know you won't take crap from them. They know if that happens to you, you're gonna start looking for a new job. So in a way, your manager will be kind of like afraid of you. You want a little bit of that so that they would naturally just give you what you deserve. There's a budget for raises. There's a budget for bonuses. They're going to have a set amount of cash. And if, say, they spent it all, they divvied it up between all their employees, and then all of a sudden someone comes back and asks for more, and that's beyond their budget, all of a sudden they have to get approved for this. They don't want to do this because your manager's manager already gave them a goal, right? They need to satisfy this goal, and if they don't, they come back and ask for more money. It means they're not doing their job. It looks bad on them, so they really don't want to ask for more money. One time I was leaving for a job and I got called in by the CEO. Normally that doesn't ever happen. I never go in that office ever. And when it got called in, it's like, it feels so unnatural because, I don't really talk with this person at all or anything on a day-to-day basis. So, it just felt really unnatural to me. It's like, okay, something is wrong. they want to come in and take care of it. What do you want? I'll give you whatever that you want in order to make you stay. But at that point, I already made up my decision because I really wanted to go somewhere else, and that my new manager appeared to be like a really, really good manager. And it really is the case. After working for him for like, I think 3 years or so, that's like the best manager I ever had. So it was a really, really good decision to leave because I actually ended up getting paid more and more. It all worked out. If you're looking to getting above average pay, I'd say you need to understand how it all works. From my experience of bosses giving me raises right at the last minute, I've been talking to CEOs, CTOs. It appears that they have a lot more latitude than you think. You think they won't give you a 25% raise, but I was at one company and I was ready to jump ship. But it seems like they were kind of desperate or something. I really don't like that company because of the way they treated their employees. There's some politics going on. They can give you whatever you want if it's not like really, really crazy. Because when I was leaving, I had a pretty high salary already. And I was thinking, I just tried to blurt out something that sounded really ridiculous to me. I wanted 25% raise. And I've been working in the industry for what, like 8 years or something or more. But then right when I said I want 25% raise, and he's like, done, you know, you can have that. But then I still didn't want to take it. So then I still ended up going to the new company, even though the salary was not as high. If they really want to keep you, they would pay a significant amount in order to keep you. And in order to initiate all this talk, you have to resign, which means you need to find a new job. So get comfortable looking for a new job. And I say the best way to do it is to not be too partial to either companies. For me personally, I sort of am partial to one over the other, so it would make me, jump ship. But I think looking back, it might have been okay to stay at that particular company and get even higher salary. I entered in one company as like engineering 4 or whatever number, engineering 3 or 4. And my manager ended up telling me that I was on the high end of the pay grade for that particular title. Even if you are able to negotiate a really high salary, later on they might try to stiff you saying, oh, you are a really highly compensated employee already, and they just won't raise your salary as much as someone else who is much lower than you are. So when the next year of pay raises come around, you might find that you might not get as high a salary raise as you should be. When you see that happening, that might also be the time to jump ship again, unless of course, you think you're jumping ship way too often. Eventually I ended up switching again, and I have to say, early on in your career, you don't get any RSUs. So as you become more and more experienced, or maybe if you're in the software engineering field, they give you RSUs. You really have to factor in the value of these things, because when I looked at the total compensation package from one job to another, it was actually a 50% raise. It's like, how does that ever happen? That is as a result of RSUs, in combination with if the stock market is doing well, and let's say they double or triple in price, but when they gave it to you, it's only worth, let's say, $20,000. And then it tripled in price, so all of a sudden it's now worth $60,000 per year. So that's significant when you add this to your base salary. I hope these little stories are interesting for you and useful for you in your job hunting. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to give me a like and subscribe for more.